Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time, especially on a holiday. I know some of you celebrate Easter, Good Friday, Passover, all the above. So I want to wish you a happy holiday weekend. And again, thank you for taking this Friday afternoon and spending it with us. We're going to run for about an hour. I think it was very important. Typically, we don't do these on Friday. But we wanted to give it a full week after the expo to make sure that you had a chance to catch up, digest everything, and then any questions, comments, or if you needed a 100-foot overview, a review, whatever it is, you had enough time to jot down any notes, and then, of course, come to us. So here we are, Friday. And what we would like to do, and we have a lot of information, because if you were at the expo, it ran for about 8 hours. If you were not, what we're going to do is give you a condensed overview, and we're going to run for about an hour, a little bit under an hour. So right before 3 p.m. Eastern time, we'll wrap up. But again, we're taking basically 7 to 8 hours of content and putting it into 50 minutes today. So the whole point is, if you pick up an idea, right, if you have a new strategy in mind, right, because of one of these slides, just pick up the phone, call anyone on our marketing team, and we will get you whatever you need. If it's brochures, handouts, an e-blast, or just questions in general, we will make sure that you have everything that you need to move, grow forward, and grow your business, number one. So what we would like to do is we're going to have our question of the day right before 3 p.m. We do this on every webinar. And we're going to have a question that has to do with the slides we're going over. Whoever answers first incorrectly wins the new Apple iWatch. So we'll announce your name at the end. And then fire away with questions, comments, feedback, good, bad, and different as we go. We want to hear from you. So use that Q&A pane. Okay, typically you can minimize it or expand it. So make sure you fire away with feedback. Okay, Andrew's actually answering today in real time. So anything that comes in, he's going to make sure you have the answers you need. Okay, and then like I said, reach out anytime after today's webinar. We're here today until we'll close a little bit early, maybe about 4:30 to 5. But again, shoot us an email, call, whatever you prefer. We're here for you is the bottom line. Okay, so what we're going to do, number one, I want to just give you a 100-foot overview on last Friday. It was an unbelievable day. What was so interesting this year, okay, and if you think about, the prior years, we were dealing with COVID, right? In fact, we even had to skip a year, the first time ever, because of what happened in 2020, 2021. So this was the first year. Number one, we had a record attendance. I mean, the room was full most of the morning, which was great to see. So I wanted to personally thank each and every one of you that took time out of their day, their week, to spend it with us. We had people from all over the country, even Mexico, Hawaii. So my hat goes off to you all. Now, most of our agents, right? Think about this. We have 24,000 plus agents in almost every city in the U.S., and the room only holds about 260, 270 agents. So most people were not there, which is the reason we wanted to do this today. Okay, so a big thank you again. And then number two, what I wanted to mention, and this was great, okay, and just think about this for a second. If you take a step back, we announced the expo to our core carriers about 8 to 9 months ago to fill up for the upcoming year. And we were literally filled up an entire day, an entire agenda within 1 week, which was another record for us. Because if you think about it, we have over 90 to 100 carriers on the life and annuity side, and we can only have 13 companies there. So we have about 25 core carriers in general. So we unfortunately had to say to the other 12, 13 companies that we were already filled up for the day. But it's unbelievable to see, right, as a leader, as an owner, as a managing partner in this company, to see how far we have come in a relatively a short time. We've been in business since 72, but we've only been doing this for 17 years. And I remember the first few times we came up with this whole idea, this annual Agent Expo. We were in the middle of a Marriott, a card room that held about 28 to 35 people. So it's just awesome. And we all know, and we're so grateful that we would never be here without you all, right? And every single one of you is super important to us, to our team. Every single person. It doesn't matter if there's 24,000 agents, if there's 2,000, or if there's 100,000, right? Because we all know what happens. You don't want to make even one person upset or frustrated with our services or our carriers or contracts. So we always have to do the right thing. And I think the proof is in the pudding, and we've accomplished that. And we're just getting started. So let's jump into the first slide here. And I also want to tell you, everyone on the call today is going to receive a thank you email. So in that thank you email, we're going to have a link to every single carrier presentation, and that's the full presentation, not the condensed version we're touching on today. So the full presentation for each carrier. We're also going to have a Expo recap video. Okay, so we're going to show you what it looks and feels like if you didn't get a chance to come down. So hopefully you make sure you register for next year's Levinson Expo, which will be around the same time in 2026. But I can tell you that, I mean, and you'll see like our live agent testimonials, you do not and never want to miss another Levinson Expo again, because the name and the idea and the concept was sales strategies for agents to walk away with. Okay. And I think we accomplished exactly that. You can hear it in the agents' voices. And if you were there, again, proof in the pudding. Okay, so this was our timeline real fast. And especially if you've been with us for a while, you've seen this a number of times. And it's amazing to see. I don't take this lightly. So 1972, before I was born, Carrie started the company. And then, as you can see, if you follow that path around, we were the first IMO to roll out the e-application, first IMO to roll out and be a pilot group for electronic policy delivery, first IMO and only IMO to have 100% direct-to-consumer complimentary sales platform for our agents. So you can have your own Amazon-type platform, right, and sell to prospects, your own clients, your book of business. We started with one carrier 10 years ago, right? Insure Me Now Direct, Lightning Term. It was a decreasing term product, but it didn't matter because it was a start. So you fast forward to today, we have over 25 products on that platform, and then we have a traditional side as well that we're building out, which means that your client can go in and, yes, they can look at all the instant decision products. They can get approved while you're sleeping, literally at 2 a.m., or they can run the traditional, most competitive carriers and products on the left-hand side and then go through a full e-application, okay, all 100% direct to consumer. So it's a dream come true. The success that we've seen is unbelievable with Banner Life. You're going to see a slide here. I mean, it's a new record. Every year our business is up 50 to 150%. And it's because Banner was introduced on Insure Me Now Direct, up to $4 million, all instant decision. So we're very proud of this. And the biggest point, and I mentioned this at the Expo, is we've been vetting a lot of health insurance companies, products, and we are finally launching our own Levinson Health department in 2025. So that's going to be the last bullet point there, right? Just to the right of the 2025. So you'll see that this year. That's my promise to you. I'm on record saying it. And I think what's so interesting here, and it ties in perfect, is agents are always looking for leads, for door openers, right? Because you want a chance to share your story. And with some of these health products, it's the perfect opportunity. We're tying in Facebook leads, a new, in fact, various lead programs into the health side, right? Which it was built so our agents can get their foot in the door and then talk about life products and annuities, right? Because we know you have the gift of gab, and once you're on the phone or face-to-face at Starbucks, you're going to make the sale every time. So this is going to be unbelievable, and it's going to take us to a completely new level in 25 and then 2026. So strap yourself in because, like I said, it's going to be a crazy ride and we're just getting started. Let's keep moving forward. What I want to talk about next are the recent agent testimonials. And by the way, and this is important too, if you were at the Expo, you received Mary Reed's, one of her sales strategies books. So she had three bestsellers, and we gave out a copy of her prospecting book to all attendees. And if you weren't there, so easy. Just leave a Google review on our page or on our Facebook page. Just literally leave a review, and we will send you one of her books complimentary, as long as you're an active agent with Levinson. Okay, it's that simple. So real fast, this is Lindsay, Sam, and David. I'm not going to go over each word because we have so much to talk about today. But what I do want to say is, please always share. Feedback to us at the end of the day is so important because we create these presentations. We create our webinars, our podcast series, all based on your feedback. So please jump in, okay? And you're our number one. We don't sell on a retail level, so you're our customer. And it's so important for you to jump in even when things aren't great, okay? It's okay. Send an email to me or Carrie and just say, hey, I'm a little frustrated with this or that or a company or an underwriter, okay? And we'll do our best to help you. That's our promise to you. Let's keep moving forward. Okay, so this is a big one, right? These are LIMRA statistics for the beginning of 25 and then the entire 2024. Excuse me. Okay, so real fast, and we can go through all the bullets here and just lay them out. But what this is saying, and it's huge, because what it means is we're at the right place. You have chosen a great career path. There's never been a better time. Proof in the pudding. Okay, why? 2024 was a record year for annuity sales. Okay, a record year. It was the most premium in history for annuities in general. Okay, number one. IUL. Okay, also up. This is a big deal. 10%. 10% is a huge number when you're talking about billions. Okay, up 10% in 2024. Okay, and then life insurance sales in general up 12% year over year. So, it's not just about the statistics, and anyone can look this up on Google, but look around you, okay? Look at the Expo room, how every year it's getting more and more and more packed, okay? Social media now, AI, right? All these, the Facebook and Instagram ads, even TikTok, okay? The word is out, and I used a case study example at the Expo. He's a 30-year-old agent of ours, and in just under 2 years, he's got over $1 million pending in paid premium. Okay, so I remember when I first came into the business, and I'm not going to beat this to death, but you had to either have like a mentor, maybe a parent that was in the business, or whatever, family member. Maybe you started at a home office and then decided to go into the brokerage side, or you were a captive agent and you learned that way. Nowadays, you can literally jump in head first if you have that scrappy type of mindset and mentality where you're willing to do whatever it takes. Okay, you can make it happen. You can crush it in a relatively short time, like Grant did. Okay, and he's literally came from the automobile industry. He was working. He had his own company in marketing 4 years ago. Okay, and then came into our business 3 years ago. Joined Levinson 2 years ago. And now he's leveraging our orphan lead program because he wrote a minimum of $10,000 a premium in a year, and he's crushing the game. So I don't know. I just can't stress it enough. The sky is the limit. And between the industry we're in, which is what we're all looking at on this slide, and between what you're capable of with the latest technology and social media marketing, okay, I don't think I have to say it again. You know what my point here, and you know what I'm trying to draw on the screen in front of you. So we can all do it, okay? And there's a lot of you that are doing it today. Let's keep moving forward. Okay, so we talk about door openers, we talk about lead programs, right? And this is a huge bullet, right? And enough proof in the pudding for me to say, you know what, we need a health department quick. And yes, I knew this for years, but we didn't want to just roll out any health department and companies to our agents and kind of just put our toe in the water. We had to dive in head first, and we knew we had to do it right, and we had to partner with the right companies. Okay, very important, right? Because our reputation's on the line. So what's in red in front of you, right, was the number one thing that pushed me over the edge. The opportunity, a projected 40% increase in the number of retirees by 2035. Okay? Hello, door openers. Hello, lead programs, right? Facebook paid ads. This is what you want to focus on to open doors, right? You're providing a product everyone needs, okay? And then you cross sell, you do policy reviews, and you talk about long-term care, DI, free life insurance with ROP or, IUL, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. There's so many different avenues once you have your door opener. And I feel like with this health department, it's done. Okay, the rest is history. So we have teamed up with a tech company already to provide the paid ads platform. I mean, this is going to be awesome. I'm so excited. We've been working on it for literally probably maybe 2 to 3 years now, and finally launching in 2025 this year. So super excited. Let's keep moving forward. What we're also going to do, I have Andrew on with me, and we're going to dive into each company's presentation. And we literally sifted out the best parts of the presentation, and that's what we're going to touch on today. And then again, we're going to run right before 3 p.m. Eastern, so about another 30 to 40 minutes here. Okay, so this is in your inbox every other week, and it's important because all of the changes, what's new, what's hot, what's not, is in our 411 newsletter. Okay, life, annuities, supplemental products, all the above. So just make sure you're getting this. It's not in your junk folder. And if you're not getting it, and it's not in your junk folder, that means we have your wrong email address. So please pick up the phone, say, hey, Bill, this is my correct email address, okay? And then we'll make sure you're getting these. But it's very important, and it also saves you from having to go to 100 different websites every day. All right, let's keep going. What I want to talk about next is the annuity opportunity, okay? And I think we all know what's going on in the market, right? Globally, what's going on with the S&P, what's going on with our markets, and annuities offer a safe, stable, guaranteed zero is your hero floor. Okay, it's a great conversation to have. Commissions are great. There's virtually no underwriting. It's just suitability. Okay, and there's never been a better time. Okay, and just look at that number in front of you. Annuity sales surged to over $100 billion in the fourth quarter of 2024. Okay, do you think that we need to focus on annuities this year? Absolutely. And we provide the program, the 101 training dashboard, everything you need, even if you've never written a case. Okay, we have everything you need. It's complimentary. You even get a certificate at the end. So you're now an annuity sales professional. Okay, we have the Charles 8-week workshop that you can leverage, all free once you're an active Levinson agent. Okay, that's it. So everything is turnkey. Well, I'm going to show you some pretty neat quoting engines that are also complimentary. We go to the next slide here. So if you want to look at the top MIGA products, right, and carriers, everything pops up in front of you, and you have all of the different bullets that you need to share with your client, or if you're doing some homework before the appointment, everything is in front of you. And then lean on our annuity department for support, okay, between Josh, RJ, Ashley, or even Ashley K in contracting. Everybody will get you what you need so you can get appointed and then make the sale, okay? And then marketing material on top of it. We have a whole turnkey marketing library that you have full access to. Let's keep moving forward. Okay, speaking of lifetime income, right? We have the best annuities, and it's actually guaranteed income, right? When you're speaking to clients, most people can't believe this. Actually, Corebridge has a great product. But if you're looking at comparing carriers and products, again, everything is on Annuity Rate Watch, which is complimentary, or our marketers can do the work for you. Let's keep moving forward. Now, speaking of FIAs, right, a real hot button right now. This is an example of Annuity Rate Watch. These are the top products and rates. And again, you can print these, we can email it to you, and then you have everything that you need to go out and have this appointment and hopefully make a sale, and then use us for support when and if needed. Okay, the next slide here is we are rolling out the first annuity e-application that is tied into our AMS system. So this is really, really cool. So think about this for a second. You've probably used IGO, our life insurance e-application. So what's so neat is when you go in, first of all, you have to have all green check marks to proceed. So you can't make any more mistakes. Okay. And if you missed over something or your client missed over something, there's going to be a red X. You go back, fill it in, submit the app, and then all of that information is populated into it's called our AMS software tool. And then that shows you when you log in for case status and look at all of your cases, all of your agents' cases, right? You're going to see that annuity case pop in, and you're going to see updates that are emailed to you and also show up on your dashboard. So they all communicate with each other, all of these platforms, and that's why it was so important to use the iPipeline Affirm for Annuity e-application. And we already have about 37 carriers that are built into the platform. We're rolling this out in about 60 to 90 days. It's complimentary to you. Okay, so we actually had our iPipeline rep go over this in front of everyone on Friday. So if we can go to the next slide, we'll show you some of the features, benefits, what the application looks and feels like. We're going to do this quickly. Andrew, if we can go to the next slide, that would be great. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so as soon as you go in, and again, it's very simple. I don't want to complicate this. You're going to see a green check mark, a red X, and of course, the green means you keep going. You'll go through the application until everything is fulfilled, submitted. You are done. You move on to the next application or client or sale, hopefully. So all of the e-sign is built in, and everything, like I said, gets populated into our AMS system. Let's keep moving forward. Okay, there we go. That's some of the suitability financial questions. Let's keep going. We have a lot. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so part 2, and this was our early presentation in the morning, was Paperless Solutions Group, which is a MIB company. You've all heard of MIB, Medical Information Bureau. So they are the technology platform behind Insure Me Now Direct. Okay, they built the platform for us when it was just a dream in my head. And here's what's so cool. Let's go to the first slide here. So think about this for a second. Now, when you're putting your consumer hat on, okay, and you can pretend that you're Bobby Shelley, at 2 a.m., right? You can't sleep and you want to run a life insurance quote on your agent's website, right? Insure Me Now Direct site. So your client can do this, just like going onto Amazon and buying a pair of shoes, maybe some dog food, right? Dog biscuits, and maybe you need some utensils for the kitchen. All the above, right? Everything is boom, 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 1, 2, 3. Okay. So Insure Me Now Direct works just like that for the consumer. Now, you could do this with your consumer on the phone, face to face, through an iPad, through a cell phone, doesn't matter, all the above, desktop, whatever, okay? Or through a Zoom call, go to webinar. Now, what's so neat is we had on the right side, just think about this, we have a right path, okay? And that's the way it's been for 9, 10 years. It's all instant decision, okay? The policy is then emailed or mailed to the client if they're approved. Then we also have guaranteed issue products, 4 different carriers. We're also adding Lloyd's of London onto the platform. So everything was meant to be 1, 2, 3, right? Very vanilla, easy as pie, right? We even say, buckle up, buttercup. The process has begun. So think of now a new left side, okay? See that blue button on the bottom? It says traditional. So the instant side was the 1, 2, 3, buckle up, buttercup. And then it says traditional underwriting. The blue button is lit up. That's all the most competitive carriers and products. So it's not just the instant decision products and carriers any longer. Your client can make a right turn or a left turn. And again, you can do this on an iPad in front of your client at Starbucks. It doesn't matter. So now what's going to happen, this is so cool. Nobody has this, by the way. This is going to give you a big, and it's all free. So now if you click the traditional, what'll happen, let's just say 45 male, Protective, $1 million, 20-year term, right? You enter in whatever information, you're going to see the Protective quote. Then you can put compare. Now you're going to look at all of the most competitive carriers and products against Protective and then decide which route you want to go. Maybe $28 a month, 20-year term, hit proceed, and then today there's going to be a lead capture form. This is what happens today currently. Lead capture form comes up, your consumer fills out the basics, it gets emailed to you, the agent, in real time, and then you pick up the phone and then fulfill the rest of the app with your client. Okay? Now, the part 2 that we launched at the Expo, okay, which is going through compliance now, it'll be ready this year, should be ready in about 1 to 2 months. An e-application is going to pop up in front of that client. Okay, it doesn't matter. If it's not an instant decision carrier or product, it's okay. Remember that traditional side? An e-application is going to pop up like IGO, and the clients can fill the rest out on their own, and then they can get a decision within 24 hours. Or if there's maybe an exam needed, whatever the case is, if it's $25 million, right? Maybe APS records, you, the agent, are going to get an email. You're kept in the loop. As soon as the client fills out the app, you know exactly what's going on. Our office is in the loop, so we can order any outstanding requirements. But the point is, the client now can go from A to Z, not only on the instant side, but now on the traditional side as well. They can do this at 2 a.m. while you're sleeping. Never in history has this been done before. Okay, so we're another first. So you can market this all over. Think of a P&C agency with a large book of business. Think of a health insurance agency, right, that's been doing this for 22 and a half years, right? They have a huge book. Now they can drip market on all of their clients and say, hey, we now have the most competitive insurance products. We have life insurance, disability, critical illness, guaranteed issue. Click here for more. Sends them right to your site. They can run the quote. They can apply. They can literally have a policy in force before you wake up in the AM. Okay? Is that convenience? Or you walk them through the whole process as the agent. Okay? And you still are agent of record, full commission, plus renewals on most products. No brainer. And no commission reduction, by the way. Okay? There's no gray area, no small print. It's the same as if you were face to face with the consumer at your daughter's soccer game tonight at 8 p.m. Same thing. No difference. Let's keep moving forward. This is very exciting. Okay. So what we're going to do is skip around here. We're going to go through. This is what the process looks like. We also have the last part here is the eGenius underwriter that's built in. So, for example, if your client is height and weight challenged, maybe they're 5'8", 320 pounds, you don't know, or they don't know, or both don't know which company, which health class, who's going to be the most competitive. So they can put in here into eGenius as much information or as little as they want to share, and then the system is going to tell them carrier, product, health class, and premium for whatever their health condition is. Okay? How cool is that? And it's all real time, interactive. So super exciting. All right, let's keep moving forward. I don't want to rant too much on this because we have a lot to talk about today. So that's the process from A to Z with the new, we call it Insure Me Now Direct version 2 V2. It's awesome. And again, I've never seen anything like this. And I think once everything is ready, and right now it's about 80%, we're almost at 100, but we're going to do a full demo walkthrough webinar so you're comfortable. And once you go through the process, we're going to do a $100 gift card with your first app. Once you go through the process, you'll see what I'm talking about and why this is going to save you a bunch of time so you can focus on your larger day-to-day sales. Okay? So very neat stuff. Okay, now Andrew is going to take the wheel and we're going to dive into the actual carrier presentations from last Friday. Andrew?
Thank you, Bill. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, perfect.
Awesome. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to dive right in. I know we got to be sensitive to time, so we have a lot of information to cover here. So I'm going to dive right in to go through each carrier that was at the event and made a presentation. First up, we have Protective Life. Okay, I'm going to give you the sweet spots of these carriers as well, because yes, we have 12 carriers that presented at the event, but you need to know as an agent, where do they shine? Where can I use them in my practice if I'm not already using them today? So with Protective Life, they are the go-to company as it relates to lowest cost, term, and GUL, no lapse UL. They also have a very competitive protection IUL product that guarantees to age 90. So their product suite is term, GUL, IUL. They compete right there with Banner and Pacific and a lot of the top rated term carriers. They're right there alongside them. So they're great with that. Their underwriting is extremely generous. We have a great relationship there. Really, the big thing I wanted to cover today was their Extend Care LTC rider and the fact that they now have a conversion extension rider, which can be added to their term policy, which allows your clients to convert to not only any of their permanent products, but you can convert with their LTC indemnity rider at the time, which is a big deal because we know that people get sick over time, they need care, right? So you don't have to pay for that long-term care now. You can buy the term and convert it later. What's unique about Protective's Extend Care rider is that it's an indemnity rider, meaning that it's paid as a tax-free acceleration of your death benefit, and it's a defined amount, up from 2% up to 5% of the death benefit. So if you have a $500,000 death benefit at 2%, that's $10,000 a month, tax-free death to use for long-term care. This is one of the leading LTC indemnity riders in the country as far as rates, features, etc. And now you can add that rider on the term. Okay. Moving forward, this is just showing the cost of waiting. And health is an asset, right? We're all healthy now, but we know that there are two certainties in life: death and taxes. We're all going to get older, and taxes generally go up and fees go up, right? So we want to make sure we're telling the client that story now, right? That was Protective's main message here, is let's get them covered with the term, with the extension rider, so that we can go ahead and offer that long-term care in the future and have them prepared. Okay. Next up here, we have Pacific Life. Okay, Pacific Life is also one of our core companies, the A+ rated, just like Protective, and they are a term and GUL powerhouse. That is what they do, term and GUL. They have one of the best GULs or conversion GUL products in the industry. They'll even give you 150% of your first year commission if you convert within the first 5 years of the contract. Very aggressive. They have return of premium built into their GUL contract. Their underwriting is extremely aggressive. Okay, so these are just some examples. They're good with like sleep apnea, build, anxiety. They're great with things like that, right? So they're really aggressive in certain areas, but what they went over at our Expo was really unique, and that was strategies to optimize your business. They did not want to push products for 30 minutes, okay? So what they did is they talked about business optimization, having a business plan, managing your time properly, client management. They talked about, goal setting, the SMARTS concept, which I have there on the screen. The one thing that I took away from it, that I actually learned something, was knowing your worth. As an agent, have you ever sat down and asked yourself, what is my time worth, right? Because we as an agents, right, you guys out in the field and gals, your time, you only get paid when you make a sale, right? We understand that you're not on a salary, right? So it's hard to quantify what your time is worth. So what you do is you take the revenue that you make, divide it by the hours that you work in a week, and that's your hourly or weekly rate, right? So I encourage you all to do that, to try to improve your obviously your revenue, but improve what you're worth, improve your hourly rate, which you'll see results, from that. Here's a great little matrix that they put together that shows how to free up your time and do revenue practicing activities, right? We all in business want to do things that make us the most money and the most success, right? So this graph just depicts like, hey, if you do high value things and it doesn't take a lot of time to do, you should spend most of your time doing that and least amount of time doing things that take a long time and don't make you any money or sales, right? Very simple concept. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can. We are going to send this out in the thank you email, and it's on our website in the recap folder, as Bill mentioned. Okay, here's the Pareto principle, kind of similar to what we're talking about here, but they're talking about the 80-20 rule, right? And everybody knows what the 80-20 rule is, but in this particular example, they're just saying, do you want to spend 80% of your time with clients, or do you want to do 80% of your time working on business activities, right? And the 80-20 rule is that 80% of your production comes from the top 20% of things that you do, right? So that's really what they're talking about here. It's a unique concept. I love what they went over at the Expo. Next up is Corebridge, okay? Corebridge, another carrier, a core carrier of ours here at Levinson. And something unique about Corebridge is they have two different divisions. They have the brokerage division and the QOL, which is called the Quality of Life Partners Group division. They've recently merged those two divisions together. So, of course, as a Levinson agent, you have access to all of the products. Here's a quick screenshot of the products that they offer today. So they are a term, GUL, and IUL powerhouse as well. They are known for their living benefits, which I'll get into in a second. They also have a protection IUL and an aggressive cash value IUL. Okay, so they're a value protector. You can even guarantee that to age 100 if you want. Okay, so very unique. But really, their living benefits tell a great story. And that's on the QOL side. Okay, the QOL, which is quality of life, those products include the living benefits. The brokerage products are basic. They do not include those riders. So just make sure you know the distinction of those two. Okay. Here's a brief summary of the living benefit triggers and riders with Corebridge, QOL. They have chronic, critical, and terminal illness included on all of their products, term, GUL, and IUL. Okay. They will even offer, this is a unique nugget, they will offer the riders regardless of rating class. Now, I know some carriers will, like I won't name some of them, but some of the carriers out there will rescind or restrict the riders if you're rated, let's say table 4 or table 6 or whatever it is. Corebridge, if they make you an offer, they will maintain the riders on the contract. That is what they're known for. They've been doing it forever. So it's a really unique niche. But you'll also notice they have some of the most triggers in the space as far as what they cover for their living benefits. And their products are extremely price competitive. They usually are the number 1 or 2 rated living benefits term price as far as premium price on the board. And if you use our iPipeline system on the Levinson website, you'll be able to do that comparison yourself and see what I'm talking about. Here's a competitive analysis of the living benefit companies that are out there and how Corebridge compares. You can see how Corebridge is very comprehensive. Okay, and you notice there it says available on all underwriting classes. I just mentioned that. It's on the bottom left corner there. You'll notice that a lot of those other carriers, like I said, they cut off at table D or 4. Okay, so really, really important to kind of know what you're dealing with when you deal with all of these carriers, which we all do business with. Just good to know, the facts. And don't forget about their accelerated underwriting process called AU+. This is very popular, and I will tell you that this has gotten better and better every single month. Okay, we've had a lot of agents having success with this platform. This is an instant decision system for ages 18 to 59, up to $2 million for IUL and $1 million for term and GUL, where you can do the full app yourself, or you can do a drop ticket and turn it over to the client. So as the agent, you have a choice. I know a lot of agents I've spoken to, they want to control the app. Well, this lets you do parts 1 and 2, and then collect the signature electronically and get a decision. It has worked extremely well. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're doing an IGO app through the Levinson system. Okay, next up here we have Banner Life. This is the #1 selling term insurance company in the U.S. from 2024. I believe they won 2023 as well. They are consistently a leader in term insurance, and that's what they do well. They are not an IUL company. They are not an annuity company. They do what they do best, which is term life sales. Okay? Now, what's really important to know is a few things. Number 1, they've just increased their retention limits and automated underwriting to $4 million. This is on Insure Me Now Direct. We talked about that earlier. Insure Me Now Direct, Banner Life is on the platform. The client can do their own app. Instant decision within minutes for $4 million of coverage. Never been done before. Super happy about that. If you look below in the screenshots, you will see that Levinson was a record. We had record-breaking years in back-to-back-to-back years with Banner Life, and you can see the amount of applications. That is not a small figure there, and it's just going up from here, especially with the Insure Me Now Direct integrations. So, and on the right-hand side, you'll see that we have a coupon for a $100 first app bonus with Banner Life through Insure Me Now Direct. So, take advantage of this stuff, right? We're making this so easy for you guys to do. And of course, you'll be rewarded for that application. Here's the underwriting experience. This is very, very interesting. And they went over this live at the Expo, and I learned something new. And that is, look at the direct statistics on what's actually going through. I get a lot of questions from agents that say, yeah, that instant stuff's great, but it's all up to the carrier and not everybody goes through. And what's the real success rate on that? Well, look, here's the hard numbers. 42% of cases are instantly decided, and 73% of the cases are exam free, which means it may not be instant, but it's accelerated within 2 to 3 business days, let's say, right? But 42% are instant and 73, that's 7 out of 10 cases don't need an exam. That is unbelievable statistics, right? That means it's working, right? The proof is in the pudding, okay? Here are Banner Life's sweet spots, okay? We talk about underwriting being a really important part of our day-to-day business as agents and IMOs, right? You need to know where carriers shine, okay? Banner is great with tobacco rates. They're great with hypertension, cholesterol, sleep apnea, asthma and breathing issues, anxiety and depression. I've seen standard plus to preferred rates with these things, right? I've seen very aggressive offers for these types of conditions. Family history of cancer, they don't take that into account. If you had a parent that died of cancer before 60, they don't hold that against you like other carriers do. So you can still get preferred consideration for that situation, right? Little things like that, make a difference when choosing Banner as the carrier, okay? Okay, this is a real hot topic here. This is Allianz, okay? Allianz is, just like I talked about Banner being the number one go-to term, well, Allianz, all they do is IULs and indexed annuities, right? But the primary focus of this presentation is their Index Universal Life product. That is their bread and butter, and they are good at it, okay? And we're going to go over some unique features that they just recently released and a case study that will blow your mind. I promise you that. It did for me. So the first thing is the rate lock provision. Some of you already know what this is, but for those of you that don't know what it is, Allianz is the only IUL company in the industry that allows your client to lock in their rate of return any month out of the year and lock in that rate of return for the remainder of their annual period. So what I mean is, your client's got an Allianz IUL. The index is at 11% for the month of April. They can lock in that index at 11%, and that's the crediting rate they get for the whole year. And then it resets the following year, and they can do it again. The only downside is if you lock at 11 and the market goes up to 20, you don't get to participate in 20% because you locked in at 11. If it was me, I would take 11% rate of return any year, any day of the year. I will take that, right? And on the next slide, I'm going to show you what the average locking rate is. You're going to be pretty shocked. But this is a game changer, an absolute game changer for your clients and you promoting IUL to your prospects. Here is a staggering number. And again, we like to show statistics because it proves the point of what we're saying. Don't just listen to what we say, watch what's actually happening. Look, there's a 9.8% is the average locked-in value among all active IUL policies with the rate lock provision. 9.8%. That is higher than the rate of return of almost every major indice average over the last 30 years. So Allianz is paying more than the typical average rate of return that you would get in the market. That is incredible. Plus you get life insurance, plus you get living benefits, plus all the pluses, right? So it's a game changer. I mean, look at these numbers on this graph. It's absolutely staggering. It's absolutely crazy. Now, you can do the rate locking with one of 4 indices. These are the indices that you can do the rate locking with, and they just updated their index options. They've included a new one called the S&P Futures. The S&P Futures is a lockable index, and it's very similar to the traditional S&P 500, but it's volatility controlled, okay? So I'm going to show you, you're probably asking me, oh, well, what's the difference? Why would I choose one over the other? Well, Allianz has went ahead and made the S&P futures lockable, and I'm going to show you on the next screen. If you look at this chart here, look how similar the rate of return is between the S&P and the S&P futures over the last, 20 years? If you were in the S&P futures, you would have had 11.17 rate of return over the last 20 years without doing any locking or any fancy, planning, right? Just letting it ride. you would have averaged 11.17 versus the S&P at 8.15. That's a staggering number. But even with that, you got the rate lock. Because look, in 2013, 26%. If your client would have locked in, they would have gotten 26% for that year. Pretty incredible. Now, here's the case study that I loved. I thought this was great. We learned a lot from this. You could position this with your clients. So here's a sample case study of a kind of a legacy planning opportunity for children, okay? So let's say you have a couple, they want to do some supplemental college funding. They want to set up their children to have money for cars and houses and down payments and college expenses, and they also want them to be set up for retirement. How do you do that all in one vehicle? How do you do it? Well, the answer is an IUL. So look at this example. So Sandy and her husband gift $30,000 each for 17 years. They have children. Okay, so it's $30,000 a year. Of course, they have money. This is an example. Not everybody's got that kind of funds, but you could do this with $5,000 a year. You could do this with $10,000. It doesn't matter. It's an example. So instead of just writing them a check for $30,000, they're going to put that into the IUL vehicle. And look what happens when we do that. After 20 years, there's a income tax-free distribution of $200,000 to pay for Emma's college. Then, 5 years later, they have another $200,000 tax-free loan that they can do to pay off their mortgage that they have. Then, fast forward later, they have retirement income of $122,000 a year for the next 20 years, tax-free. And oh, by the way, if there's a death at 92 years old, there's a $1.3 million death benefit at the end of the rainbow. I mean, to me, that's just absolutely staggering numbers. Now, look, this is the summary. The total benefit of this plan was over $4 million to that family and to those children. And not to even make this even better, but the Allianz product is SAGE scholarship approved. So not only can you give them this benefit, they can tack on a free college scholarship on top of it for being a Levinson agent. We will get you some more information on the SAGE program. We don't have enough time to talk about it today, but that is a staggering case study that you can start putting on a napkin or a presentation and start offering this to your clients immediately. Okay, next up here, I'm almost done. This is the second to last carrier is Assurity Life. Assurity is also one of the leading companies on Insure Me Now Direct. We talked about that earlier where Banner's on there. Assurity has 5 products that are all approved on the Insure Me Now Direct platform. They have life insurance, critical illness, disability, short and long term, accident, and accidental death. What's unique about Assurity, they have instant underwriting as well for all products. They even have guaranteed issue products in some cases. They have return of premium available on pretty much all these products. Okay, they are SAGE scholarship approved, so any sale that's made with Assurity also gets that 1-year free scholarship. I mean, to me, this stuff's a game changer. Their disability product up to $6,000 a month, instant issue, no financials, no W-2s or tax returns. Life insurance, instant up to $1 million, with or without return of premium. Critical illness, instant up to $75,000. Accident plan is like a hospital confinement, where you go in the hospital, it pays you for ambulatory, for outpatient care, diagnostics, I mean, you name it. It's a great gap alternative. And then their accidental death product is a guaranteed issue. Let's say your client can't qualify for regular life insurance, you can buy the accidental death product up to $350,000, no questions, and you can get a DI accident rider up to $3,000 a month. So that's pretty cool stuff there, all through Insure Me Now Direct. Here's a quick case study with Assurity Life. This is a lady who's a dental hygienist. She's 36 years old. She had some coverage through her job, but not enough coverage. So she needed some additional disability to offset what she was getting from work. So she purchased the Assurity short-term disability product for $29 a month to get her to her $3,600 a month tax income. So it's never going to pay 100%, but Assurity will actually cover up to 70% of somebody's income. And most carriers are 60%. So they're actually pretty aggressive on that ratio. Okay. So just a quick case study for you. Think disability, think paycheck protection. You want to use Assurity. They're great for those middle to middle upper incomes. Okay. All right. Okay. This is the second to last carrier is Lafayette Life. I'm almost done. 2 more minutes. They have a rapid issue whole life product. Okay, this is brand new to the market. Okay, so this is ages 18 to 60, up to $1 million, fully digital, no paramed, no phone interview, 3 to 5 business day turnaround time. So I know a lot of you would like to sell more traditional whole life with dividends, which is what Lafayette does, but you don't want to go through the whole traditional process and get records and have to wait 2 months and all that stuff. They've eliminated that with this product. Okay, it's simplified process. That's the key. They still get the best dividends. You still get all the same treatment that you would normally get from Lafayette. Here is the primary differences between these two. Okay, the Patriot Now is the fast, easy, quick solution. The regular product from Lafayette is for larger cases, the IBC concepts where you're overfunding, large premium dollars, more riders, more flexibility, right? But you just have to know your market, right? So here's a case study of a 45 male in great health, needs to nail down some whole life insurance, wants to spend about $12,000 a year, wants to do a 60-40 blend, which is life insurance to cash values, right? Well, here's the difference between the regular product and the instant or quick product. You'll notice that it's almost identical as far as what you're going to get in cash values. Look at the cash values after year 20, okay? Not a huge difference, okay? So just think about that for your clients, okay? When you're thinking Lafayette Life, use that new Patriot Now instant product. Okay, last here, Mutual of Omaha. They are a great carrier for IUL, term. They have final expense. They do a little bit of everything. This presentation focused mostly on IUL. Okay, so here's a quick case study. I'm going to move fast. This is Ted and Lisa. They have these accounts. Does it make sense to have an IUL while they're still alive? Yes. These are the benefits that you get with Mutual of Omaha's IUL product. Okay, they have liquidity, no downside risk. Return of premium is included on all of their IUL products. Okay, they do have living benefits for chronic and terminal illness. Okay, of course, you get the death benefit and all the other features. So here's an example of Lisa getting $500,000, putting in $20,000 a year for the next 20 years. You can see on the left, you get a $400,000 return of premium if she wants to walk away. If she doesn't want to walk away, she's got $751,000 in projected cash value after 20 years with a $1.25 million death benefit. Okay, the low-cost story. A lot of people feel, and I'll keep this brief, but a lot of clients are going to ask you, well, I heard IULs are expensive. They have a lot of fees. They're too expensive. Well, that's a myth because managed money fees are 1%. If you have a lot of money in managed money, that could be fairly expensive too. IUL costs, especially in a Mutual of Omaha, is actually very low. Look at this expense chart here. You can see that the expense charges is only $759 annually. That's really not that much. Surrender charges $3,000, but if you just look at the ratio, it's really not that much, right? And you can actually run this when you do an illustration. You can add the expense and cost summary to all of your illustrations, so it'll help tell that story a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to get it back to Bill. That was my time here for all the carriers. I hope you took away some nuggets with that. And Bill, get it back to you.
Okay, great job, Andrew. So great job to all of you because this is a long webinar. And, just think about this for a second, right? You're an agent, right, in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and you're listening to the two of us talk for 55 minutes on all these concepts, carriers, products. Pick out what works for you. Some of you focus more on estate planning or term insurance, or you're working with a health agency on, final expense or whatever it is. The point is just get comfortable, know enough to be dangerous so you can pivot in this direction or that direction. And then, you can lean on us for any complex questions, right? Or case design. We will do everything behind the scenes for you. As soon as you have a guy, you have a girl, right? We will help you do all of the work behind the scenes. You go present it to the client, and hopefully you take an application, okay? And then we do all the processing. But that's it. That's the way I look at it. You don't have to know all of these different products and issue ages and caps and par rates, and know the basics, come to us, and that's it. The rest is history. So let's jump in here. We're almost done, by the way, and then we have our giveaway. I know we have about 3-4 minutes left. So the keynote speakers were fantastic, number one. So I want to take my hat off to Michael. Okay, Charles did a fantastic job, and Mary Mary Reed did an excellent job. Everybody loved the three of. In fact, everybody loved all the presenters. I did a live testimonials at the end of the day, and I constantly heard, "Oh, I love Charles, I love Mary, and Mike and Carlin." So it was spread out, which was nice to see because the name of the game was sales ideas and takeaways, right, that you can use in your everyday practice. So love to see that. Let's go to the first slide here. So the first one was Michael Savage, who was trained for the last 20 years by Tony Robbins. And he used a great story. And the bottom line is, without diving in too deep, is when it comes to agents and clients, prospects, networking, it comes down to trust, reputation, relationships, right? And here you can see Norman Schwarzkopf, and he had a personal story Mike shared where he had to pick like 1 out of 9 plans, right, to go into war basically. And he picked like number 7, and they asked him why it was 7, and he said, it's not necessarily because of the plan, but it's because of who wrote the plan. And he trusts them and knows that they will always do the right thing the right way. So he didn't have to know the details of the plan. He just had to know who wrote the plan. And basically the same thing goes for agents and prospects, right? And them trusting you and counting on you. They don't have the time, right, to go through all the different layers and illustrations and cash value columns, and they want to trust you, and they know you're going to go out, do your homework, come back, and bring the best product to the client, period. That's it. Let's keep going. Okay, next up was Charles, and he is known for his 60-second napkin presentation. Did a fantastic job. Okay, you can see him in that picture in the bottom there in the middle, sitting down with the agents. They loved him. It was amazing. And if you didn't get to see this, we have that 8-week workshop where he did this live with our agents. So you can get free access to this. And then we also have the 101 training dashboard, free access, and then you get a certificate when you're done. I said it earlier. If you want to get into the annuity space, we have everything from A to Z to get you started. If you're a veteran in the space, I think you're going to love our tools and platforms that are all complimentary and incentives, right, that only Levinson gives out on top of the carrier incentives. So a little bit for everyone. We think that we have all bases covered when it comes to annuities, every competitive product and carrier on top of that. Let's keep moving forward. Mary Reed, 3-time bestseller. Now, she's amazing. When you have a guy or girl, right, business owner, small, large, medium, whatever it is, and maybe it's a little over your head, right? Maybe there's tax questions and, retirement planning involved, or maybe they want to cover their employees, whatever the case is, business insurance, she will do all of the heavy lifting for you, okay? And you still get a majority of the compensation, which is great. She'll do this through a webinar, face-to-face, on a phone call, whatever, okay? You have the person, she'll take it from there and then keep you involved every step of the way. So anyway, leave a review and we'll send you one of her prospecting books on the bottom there on us. Let's keep moving forward. How to get started, you'll see a thank you email. Everything is on our website. Once you're an active agent, you get full access, and most of 99% of this is complimentary. Okay, once you're in, and it's free to get appointed, by the way. So there's no charge, no small print, there's no handcuffs. We don't lock you down for 3.5 years. No, if you want to release, no problem. We put it in writing as long as you don't owe any money or have any chargebacks. Let's keep moving forward. The podcast, these are our most streamed episodes. So this is a great learning tool because you get to sit in a room and speak to some of these top producing agents, pick their brain for an hour, what's working, what's not, and it's all free. Okay, it's on your favorite podcast channel. We're on all podcast channels, as a matter of fact, and YouTube. Grant was my case study at the Expo, so check that one out, number 57. And then we have Ian from California. He's coming up next week. So actually in 2 weeks, he's another one that's going to be awesome. Younger guy, crushing it. And now he's also selling annuities, which is great to see. So it's just awesome because I remember him from 10, 15 years ago, just getting started. To see how far he has come today is amazing. Let's keep moving forward. These are great classes, courses, certifications. It's all free for you. Again, You got to take advantage of this stuff. So coming up around the corner, let's look at the center there. This is a living benefit certification course, complimentary. But the only caveat, you do have to be appointed with Levinson and LSW, okay, or at least submitted your contracting paperwork. And that's, again, on the 24th, 2 p.m. Right-hand side, we're doing a first ever 1 full hour IUL masterclass. We're going to take you from the bottom and we're going to move you from A to Z. So by the time you're done, remember, right, enough to be dangerous, that's what it's about on the right-hand side. Complimentary. Make sure you register May 1st. Let's keep moving forward. And by the way, I have 30 seconds left and then we'll put a bow on this. I know it's a little over. Future training events, that's what you're looking at. I'm not going to go over each one, but this will be in the thank you email. But we have some awesome webinars. In fact, we are booked up for the next 2 months. So you got to pay attention. You got to be on these trainings, especially, in fact, Paul came up to me at the event at dinner, actually, and said, hey, I got to get involved with these Facebook paid ads. I want to get moving on this. I know it works. So we have a third-party company on the bottom there that's going to jump on, and they're going to share their platform, how it works, and their co-op discounted rates. But the sky is the limit, but you got to jump in. Okay, that's it. You got to try it out. Let's keep moving to our final slide here, my Positive Tuesday quote. Champions and winners have no time to complain. They're too busy trying to get better, right? Better yourself. Focus on the positive. Jump in head first, right? Sometimes, right, it's a little dangerous. You might think, I've never been down that road. Oh, I never tried that before. Okay, but you never know until you try, and you don't want to be in the same position come next year at this time, right? In 5 years from this time, in 10, or else you stay stagnant, right? And we all know you can't stay in neutral. You're going to start sliding backwards in reverse, and nobody wants that. So try 10 new things, and if 3 work out, great. You're in a different place next year at this time. It's not rocket science. So anyway, hope you learned a lot. I know that was a lot of information. I know some of you will watch this a month from now. It's okay. Pick up the phone, call us anytime. Our giveaway, you got to be quick. Get your little fingers on the keyboard. We have an Apple iWatch up for grabs here, but you got to be first and you got to be correct. Okay? Question is, get ready. A lot of people on right now, so make sure you're ready to rock and roll. Got to be quick. What 2 carriers are required to access Mary Reed's platform? And by the way, the Living Benefits course I just went over is also one of those companies. So there's 2 companies that you have to be appointed with if you want to leverage Mary's platform, number 1, and if you want to be on that Living Benefits certification course training, which is next week. Okay, so there's 2 companies. Tell me the names of the 2 companies, and you win the Apple iWatch. In fact, it's the SE new version. So tell me the name of the 2 companies, and you win. And let me see who answered first and correctly. Give me a second. Mr. Boyd, Mr. B-O-Y-D, Mr. Boyd, congrats. The answer, Lafayette Life and LSW, Life of the Southwest. Those are the 2 companies needed for Mary's platform and the Living Benefits course. Mr. Boyd, congrats. Let's all have a great holiday weekend, right? Great selling. Make sure you are proactive. Use some of these tools and ideas. And if you forgot anything and you want a refresher, just shoot me an email. We'll set up a call or meeting next week with any one of our marketers, or reach out to anyone on our team. We're here to help you. We have literally 26 people now in 4 states, right? We're all here to help you move the needle. Great selling. Thank you again. And can't wait for the 2026 Annual Agent Expo.